The 90s was a very special time for gaming. If you didn't grow up in the 90s, it's really hard to explain just how magical a time it was for gaming. 90s gaming fun can be emulated, but it really can't be recreated. You see, sometimes there's a decade. Well, it's a decade for its time and place. It fits right in there. And that's the 90s in gaming. The 90s was classic Saturday Night Live, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the most quotable Simpsons episodes ever, and of course, the best gaming ever. Take Paperboy for example. I grew up with the Sega Genesis version, so that's the one I'm going to review today. This port of the game was released in 1991. You could say it kicked off the 90s, if you will. And what's more 90s than a Paperboy? You could have easily called this Wishbone the video game, Boy Meets World the video game, Erie, Indiana the video game, and nobody would bat an eye. Paperboy is a really fun game, but it also has some really bad controls that annoy me beyond belief. The basic gameplay is simple. You have this whole week to deliver newspapers. You're supposed to perpetually drive forward. You can control how fast your Paperboy goes, and you can also swerve left and right. You're supposed to deliver newspapers to colorful houses and then vandalize dark houses, because those are houses that are not on your paper route. The fun part of this game is just how much stuff is going on these streets. There's drunks you have to avoid, there's guys breakdancing, there's cars you need to avoid, there's cats and lawnmowers and mailboxes not to hit, and kids playing with remote control cars and fire hydrants. It's just such a lively and fun game. It has so much in it, and yet the gameplay concept is so simple. Deliver newspaper to this house, destroy this house. Where the game falters is the controls. I absolutely hate the controls. Going left to right is a chore. The Paperboy controls horribly, and he always hits things. It's often almost impossible to get out of the way of things coming at you or just standing still if you're going as fast as the Paperboy can. And this becomes the most evident because at the end of every paper route there's like a little bonus stage where you go through this obstacle track, and the obstacle track really shows off how bad the game's controls are. I mean, it's impossible to do. It really is hard as balls. Normally a game with as bad a controls as Paperboy has wouldn't get the stanburdman seal of approval, and maybe it is just because I'm being nostalgic here. Maybe it's just because I had so much fun playing this game as a kid. Maybe it's just because it's a game from the 90s, the best decade of all time in the history of the world since time immemorial. Or maybe there's something to the gameplay. Maybe a game can in fact be good, even despite the fact that it has bad controls. Or maybe I'm just crazy. Who knows these things? We're getting into quantum physics here. These things are way too hard to explain at this point in our history. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, my friends.
One last customer. Don't tell my boss. One last customer.